Adolf Hitler, April 20, 1889 to April 30, 1945, was a German politician who was the leader of the Nazi Party, Chancellor of Germany from 1933 to 1945, and Führer of Nazi Germany from 1934 to 1945. As dictator of Nazi Germany, he initiated World War II in Europe with the invasion of Poland in September, the most vilified, slandered and lied about man in modern history. Hated by the Jews and Western European powers, especially Churchill, Hitler tried with all human effort to prevent the war. England, Poland, Czechoslovakia, France, USSR and finally the USA did all they could to destroy nationalist socialism and the innovative and charismatic leader of Germany. War was the result. If you know the truth about WW2 you will agree. Western propaganda won the war and eventually defeated Germany. Now Germany is back under the banking elite's grasp, and as an occupied country to this day. Personally, I believe Hitler is the greatest leader in the 20th century. His commitment is extraordinary. He used all his skills to reach his aim and invented a knowledge and industry to implement his aim. He created a mission based on a philosophy, practically executed that mission, mobilized the entire nation to contribute to that mission. In this course, Hitler used all the resources around him to reach his aim. Invented many resources, those not freely available, and managed those resources efficiently and effectively. Gave a high and technical and disciplinary values to his work. I think Hitler used all the human distinctiveness and strengths that a human being can use to reach his aim or long felt inner human urges. I know the entire world hate Hitler, so do I, but I highly respect his leadership. How did he use his leadership? A different story took Germany from being one of the most deprived and socially fractured nations in Europe to the strongest, richest, and most unified nation in the world in 10 years. His flaws and motives, as well as the motives of those around him, put him on a pedestal of darkness, but he was the greatest and most amazing leader of the century. Hitler was a terrible human being, but his actions have had large effects on the world. I think he's the most referred and among the most studied individuals of the 20th century, and his story before and during his reign in Nazi Germany has paved the way for understanding and studying dictatorship. Also, while he was bad inherently, he was a very good politician with excellent leadership and understanding of politics and economics. I think he could have been an inspirational man, had it not been for the actions and moral path he took. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk at the beginning of the 20th century, while every leader was leading people either to fascism or communism, he was the only leader who has the vision of establishing a republican democracy. He tried so hard to convince even his comrades for believing democracy and universal values. His vision was so ahead of his time, it allowed Turkish women to gain the rights to vote and to be elected, while it was a dream in Europe. In the middle of an Islamic community, he tried to implement modern lifestyle, scientific education system, deficit-free economy and secular government legacy. His revolution was the only revolution in 20th century, which established a modern republic unlike the communist and fascist ones. Starts his life in a sunny spring day in 1881, gets great marks in his schools, later on starts his job as an officer. Wins almost all battles he takes part in. Stops Allied ships, supplements an enormous Allied landing at Dardanelles, saving the Ottoman Empire and causing October Revolution indirectly. Fighting with France, Greeks, British, Armenians, Italians at the same time and winning against all of them. Foundation of Republic of Turkey. Abolishes Sultanate and Caliphate. Changes the Turkish alphabet to Latin, gives women rights, makes economy function and the state independent. Currently rests under a giant mausoleum. Ataturk is without doubt the greatest, smartest, most benevolent leader of the Turkish history and the most intelligent leader of the 20th century. He completely transformed, one might even say recreated a nation, preached science in every chance he got, gave equal rights to women even before most of the European countries, and is the sole reason why the Turkish nation is far from being an Islamic fundamentalist people. May God bless this great man. He brought freedom and democracy to the Turkish people. He was not only a leader, he was a soldier, a scientist, a historian, a mathematician. He published a book about geometry and another book about history called Turkish History Thesis. He defended the Gallipoli against England, France, Australia, New Zealand and Arabs. In that battle he also defeated Admiral Winston Churchill's fleet, who is in the third place on the list. He protected Ottoman Empire against England, France, Italy, Russia, Greece, Armenians, Arabs, Kurds. Then, he overthrew the Sultan and founded the modern Turkey. Ataturk Centennial is declared in 1981 by United Nations and UNESCO. Ataturk is the only person to receive such recognition by UNESCO.